And do you know like what areas you might be patrolling, or is that secret?
That'd be interesting. If you could call me back. Numbers here is 616-546-4258.
It all starts with an idea. People working together, discovering, analyzing, and disseminating information about our community. 365 days a year, the Holland Sentinel strives to compile the information that matters to you, a member of this community called Holland, Michigan. This is the story behind the story. Behind the story, how we bring you relevant news that matters to you.
Hello, I'm Managing Editor Richard Harold, and I'd like you to join us on a tour of the newsroom today to see how we gather the news, decide what to print, and sometimes decide what not to print. We will be following two reporters on their beats, as we call them in the newsroom. First will be Roel Garcia, who is working on a story about osteoporosis in men. The second will be Megan Schmidt, who is the police and courts reporter, and she'll be covering a fire at a Zealand home. I may need to find another reporter to go to this fire if I don't hear back from Megan in like the next 30 seconds.
Zealand Command calling dispatch.
Alright, so what's going on?
I haven't heard back from Megan, so I'm sending another reporter out there. I believe is going to be going out 8th Street, Chicago Drive.
Alright, so there's damage throughout the fire. It was just a dryer, a clothing dryer, caught fire somehow. They're not sure how, and just caused some smoke damage and a little bit of fire damage, it sounds like. It seems like definitely a lot of the time when you get called out on these calls, a lot of the time it ends up not being such a big deal. From, you know, smaller fires like this to, like the other day I went to the high school because it sounded like police were being called over to the cafeteria, like if there was a fight in the cafeteria. Turned out it was just a verbal dispute between like two kids. So yeah, a lot of the time it ends up not being a very big deal, but you kind of have to be there anyway just to make sure.
Dr. Young, first of all, what is osteoporosis?
It is a condition that predisposes.
I first got interested in osteoporosis when my managing editor gave me an article about osteoporosis being prevalent in men. The article appeared in the Wall Street Journal. I contacted Tim Breed at Holland Hospital, who put me in touch with Dr. Young and Dr. Walko, who were more than happy to talk to me about some of their patients and osteoporosis in general. And Dr. Walko got me in touch with one of her patients who was more than happy to talk to me about his osteoporosis situation.
A lot of what Margaret talks about in her class that are very important, things that you might be able to change that might decrease your rate of bone loss.
So it's a little frightening to think that we're not doing this on people, in large part because we continue to hold on to this idea that most osteoporosis is involving women.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah.
And then the woman is Dr. Sharon.
He has osteoporosis.
Yes, he does.
The headline can often be the most challenging part of a story because you want to encompass all the elements of a story that you can.
We print a color proof of our cover pages to check photo color and for proofreading. Once the page is proofread, we drop the file into an automated system that will transmit it to our Allegan print facility.
Hey Shannon, you should have A1 black.
Yes, I do. All right, thank you.
When the page arrives electronically at the Allegan Flash's print facility, we output the page on our large format film imager, capable of printing on film up to 26 inches wide. The next step is to produce the metal plate that will produce our image on the press. The negative is placed onto the plate, which is coated with a light-sensitive chemical. The finished printing plate is ready for mounting on the press. When all the plates are mounted, we're ready to start up. Hearing protection is not optional. The first few minutes of press operation are critical. All these startup copies will end up in the recycling dumpster as the press crew scrambles to set ink levels and make sure color registration is within acceptable limits. Paper is expensive and there is no time to waste. On this night, 2,317 papers are wasted before the counter is reset, and we can log our first good copy. At 12:10 a.m., 7,200 copies leave Allegan for Holland. The remainder of the run will ship on a later truck, but these copies are urgently needed for the waiting carriers in Holland. The high-low driver is waiting and quickly unloads the first skid of 7,200 papers. The inserting crew is ready. Advertising flyers are shipped by advertisers to the Holland Sentinel for insertion. Our inserting machine can drop up to 8 inserts at one time into the newspapers. At last, the finished bundles are ready to hit the streets.